Okay, let's sort the seal out. Mistress Haidari, my patience is not easily exhausted, but you are coming very close. I shall repeat. And it's vanished. I can see a family resemblance with Abelard now. You cannot see further than your own nose, my dear Clementia. Let Lord Trader decide. Your Lordship, I apologize for this ugly scene, but may I ask that you rein Mr. Haidari and put stop to her inflammatory actions towards me. As an exalted one is my witness, Shireen. I've tried everything I could to spare you any unnecessary headache over the seals of the Marcatum Tabula Officiale. I even showed this aid with the temper worse than the sandstorm the certificate with your signature, but the Chancellor merely kept batting me away with her flail of baseless denials. I suspect that the reason for this has nothing to do with my humble personage. Clementia purses her lips and glows at Jay. Oh no, this isn't about me at all. Jay narrows her eyes and she peers into Clementia's face until the latter finally looks away. I see. Well, Chancellor, will you tell us yourself, or should I help you? Mistress Westerrain, I require the document to be certified. Where is the court servitor, the keeper of the seals? I am afraid that my word may anger your lordship. Clementia lowered her head in shame, as if offering it up to be removed from her shoulders. The seal you are looking for was lost over a quarter of a century ago. Her ladyship Theodora von Valentius ordered a new one to be delivered from the Imperium. But, as you well know, we are a long way away from Holy Terra, and with warp storms ravaging the Coroner's expanse, we have been unable to receive a replacement to this day. Could this be the seal in question? This is, without a doubt, the Administratum seal from Winterscale Realm. But why is the original and not a copy? I think I understand. Well, the law of the Imperium did not prohibit, as of the other houses, from using the seal in times of need. I will order to have servants of the machine called create a duplicate, so that to avoid such an embarrassing predicament in the future. I ought to flog you for withholding critical information. Unquestionably, your lordship, Clementia accepts your words and eyes cold calmless. At day's end, I will submit myself to self-flagellation at the Western Family Chapel. 100 lashes, and if that won't be sufficient, I will add 5 dozen more. The loss of the seal is certainly a great tragedy, but self-flagellation? Jay clicks her tongue disapprovingly. Admit it, Chancellor. You simply join wallowing in pain while praising the Emperor's name. What an exalted one requires of his servants is pure faith, no hollow torment. What possible use could he have for our tears? Those are just the ravings of the Ecclesia, and you just walk whatever road you are being herded along, as blind as the obedient sheep. I do not fear pain, for it offers redemption. It would benefit you to learn a lesson one day, Mistress Haidari. I'm afraid I have to refuse. Thank you. I'm at your service, day or night. Okay, one is sorted. Now let's go back to Janice. Your Lordship, there has been an incident in a war room. The esteemed Proctor and her dog Glacio won't let officers into the room, and the esteemed Proctor requests he was assigned to a space to work there, but my word, not the whole area. Some less than sagacious individuals try to lead him out of the collar, poor fools. The Medicaid officers cannot get them out of there now while they are bleeding. The esteemed Proctor is nowhere to be found, or we must ask your Lordship to deal with the beast. Shooting the esteemed Proctor's dog is something we would prefer to avoid. What brought this behavior? Not the slightest, Lord Captain. Who knows what might be going through that killing machine's head? Where is Solomon Rowe? The duty officer reported seeing the esteemed Proctor heading off to the hold to carry out an inspection. I have already dispatched runners to find him, but until they do, I will deal with this immediately. Glacio paw spread wide and growing menacingly, scans the wardroom with a scarlet visors. His blood-smeared kinetic jaw clangs, sending spark flying, frozen on the sidelines in anima terror. The bloody officers watch his every move. Examine Glacio closely. You have seen enough of Glacio in action to confidently recognize his combat mode. In this state, he is capable of ripping off a person's arm or head in a single motion. He has no visible wounds, and at first glance his behavior shows no sign of malfunction. Are you alright? We've been better, but as long as we are alive, keep away from that beast before issue, Lord Captain. Glacio looks straight at you, letting a Voxen hand growl and fur from his chest. Twitchingly moves his paws. Glacio flattens his ears and tilts his head to the side as if puzzled. The protocols that force him into combat mode are likely in direct conflict with the protocols that require him to protect you as a high-ranking individual. And now, as agonizing struggle is raging inside Glacio's mind, slowly reach out and take the hold of his collar. You wouldn't dare to hurt me. Looking at you right in the eye, you loom over him intimidatingly, slowly but inexorably reaching towards his neck. The dog lets out a low growl, his jaw opening slightly, but your heavy gaze seems to keep him pinned to the ground. Taking Glacio firmly by the collar, you see his whole body go limp, and he lies down helplessly on his belly. It is only now that you notice a small data slate in the table behind Glacio. It seems strange that Solomon would have left a personal item containing data, particularly out in the open like this. Have you been guarding this data slate? You hear a mournful whimper in response. Study it. Judging by the crest on the case, it belongs to Solomon Rowe. In the first note, you find an entire dossier of observation of your senior officers and retinue, their habits and petty vices, acquaintances, and psychological profiles. There are also notes about you, in which the previously dry observation gradually turned into something much more interesting. Read your file. Your eye is drawn to a line listing character's traits. Among the positive ones are determined, confident in privileges, courageous in battle, and magnetic charisma. The negative traits are somewhat more numerous: arrogant, lacking in righteous territory of the Lex Imperialis, unable to entrust tasks to subordinate crew members, and out of nowhere, allegedly kleptomania. Study the last line about you. The final notes reveal the fruits of Solomon obviously taxing mental efforts. You know and suspected tastes in music, food, clothing, and jewelry have been painstakingly documented. A list of gifts that might please you has been compiled, including favorite type of weapon, ornate combat servitor, and fancy garb like that corrupt bureaucrats wear. Vague ideas are sketched out in turn-coated phrases: delicacy, scandals, and spot on the deck with a nice view of the stars. Hacky or good. Visit Jana's greenhouses, prepare conversation topics, even joltly track down and end some psychopath. The line "Choir of repentant crimes perform a serenade" is written in red. I should speak to him about this further. I would be immensely grateful if you would also remind him to stop scattering his valuables around the ship, Captain.
Rogue trader.
Solomon, I happened to read something here, and I have 3 questions.
How unfortunate. Well, I'm ready to satisfy your curiosity, but I would plead for some privacy. I imagine you want an explanation.
I wish to know if this creation has a second volume. I'm amazed by the author's imagination. I'm sure that this is the first of many jokes you've managed to think up already.
The data slate contains my observation log on you and the members of your retinue. I use it to record habits, personality traits, and noteworthy facts. With regard to you in particular, more than that, I think you've already come across notes of a different nature. Thoughts about how one might make overtures toward a rogue trader. A foolish mistake. I'd been working at my assigned desk in the wardroom, and like an idiot, I left my data slate in there. Glato recognized it as an important item belonging to me, so he went into guard mode and started chasing off anyone who might encroach upon it. You know, you're lucky Glato didn't rip your arm off when you took the data slate from him. I'm sure he had a hard time deciding whose safety was more important, yours or my notes. Yes, it gave me an unforgettable experience too. That would be disgracefully devious for an arbitrator. I'm afraid you are overestimating my ingenuity. I beg you, I'm willing to part with much of my dignity. It is certainly warranted in this case, but allow me to keep a shred. I made a fool of myself that night. There was an intimacy between us, and perhaps it made me anxious. Or perhaps I wasn't prepared to feel so strongly, but I did feel it. I think about you, and about what there could be between us.
I need to get my phone.
If you do not feel the same, tell me. I will understand. If you do, then I want to apologize for my rash words before and take them back. I can show you.
The fighter's strong hands, accustomed to holding a weapon, rest on the organ keys with an unexpected delicacy. His fingers flit confidently over the keys, producing a melody at once vigorous and full of restrained tenderness, tremulous expectation and searing yearning. Salmarino's face is frozen in a mask of contemplation, but his hands dance along the keys, alternating between weightless caresses and precise bold strikes.
I've never played for anyone before. This is me making an overture.
The melody to this chord, the notes lapping to the pounding of your heart, but your hands and his are pressed tightly together, your fingers intertwined, transforming the piece into the triumph and sensual cacophony. A faint smile drowns on Solomon's lips, but he makes no move to stop you.
I'm glad you gave me another chance. Rogue trader. You know where to find.
I'm bringing woeful news, Lord Captain. Prelate Hectacolus in the Order of the Hammer has passed away. During the Great Purge conducted by the righteous of Owlstone, a den of subhuman deviants was uncovered. The prelate personally led the purge, sustained a grievous wound, and died the next planetary turn. On his deathbed he was granted a vision where the Saint Cogitus was reincarnated in a body made from the Saint's holy relics. The Order's elders believe this is to be sign that the Saint Cogitus relics, currently stored on the planets throughout the expanse, must be brought together. The Order is preparing for the election of a new prelate under whose guidance it will undertake this holy mission. The majority of the votes are divided between Prioress Lugnalia, well known for her favor, and the merciful Carrare Tychon. The minority of the Order seems the Oconomus Nigmus, a humble and reasonable man, as the prelate. Does Prelate Kratos' death not strike you as odd? I'm afraid it does not. The esteemed prelate began his service as the battle missionary and has long grown weary of the peaceful life befitting a man of his status. There was nothing strange about his wounds. He could have recovered from such injuries 30 years ago, but not now. How does the Order intend to carry out St. Cogitus' mission? The Conclave aims to produce all the relics that once belonged to the Saint Cogitus, all that can possibly be procured. Given that the Saint is a legendary figure, many items in the Colossus Expanse have an alleged connection to him. However, it seems unlikely that any of those relics owned by the Eager of depart with them. The answer to the question of how the Order of Hammer is going to retrieve them depends on the identity of the next prelate. I wish to know more about the candidates. Priestess Lugnalia was converted by the last prelate on one of the hidden words. She then served as his bodyguard for many years and eventually became the protector of the Order Reliquary and the leader of the military branch. As for Brother Tychon, he is an aristocrat by birth. He had an excellent education and could have lived in luxury had he not renounced secular life for the sake of the ascetic vows. He is intelligent, thoughtful, well-read, and most importantly, genuinely merciful. Few things can be said about the Ocneumus Nimbus. He has never been famous for his powers in battle or his sermons, but the monastery has never wanted for anything of his watch. He is the most reasonable and unobstructive individual. There is another candidate as well, Elder Incarnate, but his flock is very small. Incarnate belongs to the Malpanias and was recently accepted into the order. The priestess assumes that as the prelate he would not push hard for the searching of shrines, but on the contrary would preach the bliss of ignorance, hindering the comprehension of Saint Cognitus' wisdom. What do my companions say? I have sympathy for Priestess Lugnalia. Let her meet with Reverend Hieronymus on footfall. Should he accept her as a worthy leader, he ought to support her. A careful and sensible Oikonomus sounds like a safer bet for me than a fanatic or a clever aristocrat. The voices says that he has a few partly secrets, and knowledge of those secrets guarantees us high loyalty. Brother Tychon and he and I met. But when he was called Tycoon Diverstem, he wasn't a monk back then. He was a grandson and heir to Ulbrand, governor of Dragonus, an honorable young man with a spark in his eyes. His ascension would mean much for the Diverstems. The three of them together would make a passable prelate. I mean it. None of the condescendents can match the late Heraclius in authority, so regardless of whom you select, the other are unlikely to accept them as the new superior without complaint. You should bind them with the oaths and compel them to work together. Idira, uncover some of the Enigma's secrets. I need an obedient prelate. The voice will tell me where to look. Brother Nimbus has been chosen as the prelate of the Order of the Hammer. His careful policy is far more oriented towards satisfying the rogue traders than successfully collecting Saint Scargetti's relics. A direct investigation uncovered no grievous crimes in Nimbus' past, but it did reveal a few minor but less than virtuous faults. The new prelate will agree to anything to keep his secrets hidden. Attilus squint, nervously tugs in the helm of the dusty cloak and bows respectfully. Your lordship, the subject of Janus welcome you. What cares have brought you to the humble word of this occasion? I require the seal to certify the Macratum Tabula Officiate. The secretary nods energetically. Of course, it would be an honor to assist the rogue trader. Wait by a few minutes, your lordship, and your humble servant will have your seal ready. Jay's expression is pensive as she twists a lock of hair around her metal fingers. Interesting, Shireen. I assume we would be dealing with a servitor, but no, some places in your domain still have this work being performed by people of flesh and blood. I beg your pardon? What's that about servitors? I have faithfully performed my sacred duties to the Imperium and the Administratum all my life, and guarding the seals is part of that. And after half a century, not a single seal damaged. I keep them in a special case and oil the handles every month, as the rules stipulate. J. Shrike. I'm merely repeating the words of the Master of Seals and the Dragoness. Servitors have replaced the entire category of low bureaucrats assigned to the Von Valensis planets, around 10 years ago now. But after 77 years of service and not a single directive? Not my holy terra or from Dragonus. A complete breakdown in communication. What a farce, what an insult against all processes. Skull and patches blossom on a secretary's pale face. And this is easily remedied. If the administratum requires such a servant, then I will immediately begin preparation for servitization. The will of the Lex Imperialis is supreme. Jane nervously licked her lips. She clearly did not expect this response to her remark. Attilus, I do not think the Exalted One has any particular desire to see you lobotomized and turn into a mindless clanking ghoul just because someone somewhere changed the law. Janus needs an intelligent secretary, not a brainless machine. Simply acquire servitor for myself. After lots of prevarication, Attilus' hunch figure sags. Of course, you're right. I will continue to serve Janus and the Von Valensis Protectorate as before, and today I will dispatch a request for copies of edicts issued by the Imperium over the last 50 years. Who knows what else have I missed here on Janus? Jay lets out a breath of his relief. That is wonderful, Attilus. Just wonderful. Just don't go poking at your eyes with a long needle, at least until you receive a direct order to do so from your precious administratum. Here you are, the secretary proves the sealed certificate with core, and may the Emperor bless your path. Lopkajin, urgent report. We have received an prophetic message from Regent Orselio Arnonto Orselio. The navigators are concerned about the fate of Cassia, who disappeared from Urak 5. The regent is requesting an update on her current status, and he has also inquired about the possibility of a personal meeting to negotiate or arrange the return of the Lady Navigator to her house. The psycho-emotional coding to the received message betrays acute concern, but it also contains something that the astropath have failed to put into words. If you excuse my forthrighteousness, I feel it's necessary to tell the House of Sailor the truth, otherwise the conflict with the Navis Nobile is possible, which, given the current state of the current expanse, will only play into the hands of the enemies of the Imperium. How did the House of Sailor even learn of that I have Cassia? I wish I knew, Lord Captain. It is troubling indeed. Perhaps you have spy on board, or Regent Ronto is bluffing. In either case, I believe we should respond. Navigators are extremely powerful and useful allies to have. The House of Sailor that Cassia is safe and the rogue trader will be honored to meet in person. I'll see to it, Lord Captain. The astropath will transmit your concept. Representative of House of Sailor will be waiting for you on the capital wards of Dragonus. Receiving members of the Navis Nobile is always a delicate matter. Please make sure to discuss the details in the meeting with your Chancellor upon arrival. Charis ship loaded with valuable cargo has crash landed on the planet. While local scholars are divided on the legitimacy of the rogue trader claims on the cargo, the local inhabitants are already preparing to loot the vessel, and the crew is branching itself for a better defense. Authorize the repair effort that will last hundreds of years. By the time the repairs are complete, the crew will have assimilated into the colony and long since died, and the fact that the cargo was given to the dynasty for temporary safekeeping will have faded from memory. The rogue traders' actions are irreproachable, but the colony dwellers who had hopes to help themselves to a precious hull of people ship components are left disappointed. During a remote voyage, Navigator Sanctum reported there was a rub reef right in the ship course. The fragment of the Sea of Souls given material form. The guard might either steer the ship past the dangerous region of the reef approaching the rugged formation to give valuable insight. Approach the reef. Following the captain orders, the navigator void ship approached the reef. In the lower deck, ranks of the unbreakable screech of the tearing plasteel got damaged. Lord Captain, after the unsettling of Lady Theodora's secret workshop on Kieva Gamma, an epidemic of mysterious techlepsy has broken out. Arguments mutate into disorderment from killing the host machine, and even entire assembly halls break apart into the fragments that devour each other, fusing into grotesque and insane forms. The Omega-18 manufacturing, the epicenter of the epidemic, is corroded of, but the disease will burst out of there sooner or later. What do we know about the disease? We have not faced anything like this before. The plague only affects mechanism, forcing them to transform and lose all functionality. No one has been able to provide insight into the nature of the disease or how it found its way into Lady Theodora's secret workshop. It is possible that the secret research was being carried out there. You special servants who bear knowledge of the prior desecration of Kivagama are as susceptible to the disease as any other person. They have assured me that the disease has nothing to do with the righteous powers and comes from xenosaurs. Advisors? The eradication of the infection is the highest priority, but not completely eradicate the manufacturing serving, as the epicenter is to inflict serious damage of the resource supply. This unit, I can propose another method of purging. However, the sacraments of the Omnisha that are available to me cannot be revealed to the litany, revealed to the laity. I ask that you place your trust in me. Shireen, do not be so hasty with the purge. The phenomenon may be the interest of the other specialists. There are many who do not agree that all knowledge belongs solely to cogs. What appears to be the plague could hold amazing possibilities. If we could isolate the manufacturing and let these inquisitive minds inside, they would happily compensate us for the loss of production capacity. I have suspected 18 different epidemics aboard the suppressed 18 different epidemics of the flagship, and our officers have experience in settling up quarantines. We will send them to Kievagama to lead the tech purge squads. They will not return from the epicenter until the infection is eradicated and the prevalence exclusion zone is taken down. Even metal dies eventually, scared by corrosion. To combat those who have stripped away their flesh and replaced it with their machinery, the Bloodspawn web has produced a remedy, an acidic compound that burns through the steel. We stand ready to help to burn out this tech leprosy. Isolate the manufacturer. J. Invite those who would be willing to pay for the chance to study this test lapsopsy. Oh, you will not regret it, Shireen. The mysterious interest parasite arrives on the planet with the entourage comprised of Melatex, excommunicated technomans and shady-looking scholars. Without even trying to haggle, they paid exorbitant sum to obtain access to the previously unknown xeno disease, and then headed off into the bowels of the dire manufacturing. A cure for the mysterious disease has still not been identified, but the study of the techlapsopsy strain has made it possible to control a sample of the disease using the magnetic impulses and turn it into a dangerous weapon.
Let's seize the opportunity.
Ah, Neros Vox von Valencias, you have returned. I hope the secret document I entrusted you last time was now successfully passed through the approval procedure. Here your paper, complete with seals. The ocular lenses of the old woman's nose emit a subtle hum as she adjusts the magnification. Yes, oh yes indeed, this is perfect. The seals are authentic, so we may continue with the certification procedure. Follow me, please. This is your queue and your ticket number is the old ocular lenses harm and the zooms in the paper in a hand. 394. When it's your turn to be seen, the ranking perfect will review documentation against and sign the official certificate for J. Hentari to possess Merconum Tabula Officiae. You will have a bit of a wait, but it will be worth in the end, yes? If I miscue, a queue I shall. Then I bid you good day. May the law and the Emperor keep you.
Powers unseen uncover my path. Embrace true power.
The queue hums with thousands of voices. Someone has rolled out bleeding and is settling down to sleep. Someone is playing some bizarre musical instrument. Many are praying. Several highborn petitioners are debating who is here the most important business. You have to admit, the magnificent administrative machinery of the Imperium isn't working its rough edges. Jay smiled sheepishly, eyeing the queue. But what a thrilling adventure this is turning out to be, Shireen. I have never seen anything like this before, and sometimes it's good to take a break from a constant traveling, and to give it all the hot-blooded newcomers a chance to cover themselves in glory without us in the way. Wait patiently. In the last 8 hours, the only thing that has changed in the waiting hall is the warden shift. The petitioners in the queue placidly await the blessed hour when the appeal will be heard in the high-ranking servants of the Imperium. The entire queue perks up at the sudden announcement. Number 825 proceeds to the available window. Throne take me, what torturous trial have we let ourselves in for? Jay almost wails in despair. So much precious time lost, and we've only moved 3 places ahead. At this time, we'll be old and grey before we get out of this queue, Shireen. Do not forget we are the reason we are here. And that was the will of the Exalted One, Shireen. Jay throws up the arms and lowers her head. And the Exalted One has granted me insight on how to, with a simple wave of your hand and few wise words, we can ease our adorer's weight. The simplest way is to make these lowly subjects bow down before the blinding rays of our little Shireen. The second option requires a little more patience. I have already found our first victim, a compassionate citizen who is standing 50 places ahead of us in the queue. Simply offer the right words to unlock this heart and we'll gladly swap tickets with you. And also, you have the power to solve the problems of some petitioners, removing their need to visit coveted windows. After all, is there anything an ordinary citizen could want that is beyond the power of the Conqueror of the Stars grant? I want to consider everything again. Of course, Shireen, our number is in the queue is... oh, Exalted, no, as you hadn't looked. We are definitely not going anywhere soon, Shireen. You need to make a decision. We wait. Another 8 planetary hours go by. The queue has hardly moved. The adept in the next window was dealing with the rebellious machine spirit in the cogitator, so the petitioner from the queue were diverted to the middle of yours. Shireen, you are saint. Have I told you that before? You must be, because I don't see any odd reason why you would show such a fervent by senseless patience. Can't we hurry things along? You could also ask Idira to use her talent. On second thought, no, that could be more disastrous than suddenly erupting volcano. Shireen, forget it. Today, the entire capital is celebrating the birthday of the ancestor Mildes or Theon von Valentius, who discovered the colonized Kiavagama. In every hive on Dragonus, prayers services are being held in his honor. Noble and commoners are attending fairs with amusement, and Governor Diverstem seems he's giving his annual speech for the main spy of his palace. Most of the administratum servants have joined the festivities, so today all of the windows are being served by only one certification officer. Unconstructive expenditure of temporal resources recorded. Recommended resolution: return to nation mission. Look, Captain, this place is so dull there is not even any knocking on the other side of the door. All the whispers died down when they realized that nothing interesting was going to happen. Can we go back to the ship? Well, Shireen, maybe this time you will lose patience with being patient and decide to move things along a teensy-bitsy faster. Nope. The next 8 hours passes surprisingly peacefully. Nothing usual happened. All the certification officers are at the windows and accepting petitioners, and you have even started growing accustomed to the sound and smell of this place. Well, Shireen, maybe this time you will lose patience with being patient and decide to move things along. Nope, we wait. Well, Shireen, no, we wait further. The home activity turns to the queue. Petitioners exchange glances, clutching the paperwork. After a few seconds, you realize that the number being called out by the service call for the third time is one of your tickets. Jay's eyes are sunken from lack of sleep, asthma, and exhaustion. Her hair is disheveled, and her fine clothing is so rumpled, one would think she's been brawling. We've really made it. I swear to the throne, patience is the path to the madness. I don't know how the saints live through the torments without Amaskek. What are you waiting for, Shireen? Let's go. We have another couple of hours when the certification officer to get through. The certification officer leans over the document. His smoothly shaven head gleams. His augmented ocular eyes wheel as he lenses zoom in and out. With quiet scratching sound, the cogita quills that serves in place of the officer fingers make notes of a fine sheet of paper. I'm afraid that comes the rasping voice from the metal jaws with ingredient vox. The validity period of the certifying one of your seals expires 3 hours and 48 seconds ago. You must request a blank form from the Master of Seals and have both seals placed again. After that, you may return here and wait in the queue for your turn to be seen. Madness glimmers in Jay's eyes as she stares at the bureaucrat, and her hand reaches for the knife at the belt. I had enough of all of you. Templar of Law and Order greets you, of Vox von Valencius. You have returned with the necessary papers, I assume? Here the seal is placed by certification officer. Wonderful. The Emperor bless you with a patience greater than the appointed of ordinary mortals. Allow me to verify the authenticity of the documents for the final time. The Oma holds the document close so that they are almost touching her nose. A mechanical ocular lens clicking incessantly. Yes, yes, confirm. Everything is in order. And this one. The seal is smudged slightly. Jay's smile evaporates, revealing her true emotion. Void scorpions scratch out my eyes. Now what? Idera stares at Jay in surprise and lets out a whistle. Well, that come out of nowhere. Just one strike. Not in his name, not by his will, merely for myself. Would it be a great trespass, I wonder? No, I must banish such thoughts. I suppose I can overlook it, given that the rest has been certified correctly and promptly. Congratulations, J. Heydari, you are now the holder of the Mercatum Tabula Officiae. Do not forget to repeat the certification process every 100 Terran years. Uphold the law to the Imperium proudly and honorably, in the words of the Coroner's Expanse. And one more thing, loss of the certificate is a grievous transgression, Mistress Haidari. Lose the original document and you will be unable to register your status as an official trade representative, not even with the Rock Trade announcement. Yes, yes, esteemed Ma, give me a certificate already. Come on. Jay's eyes dart over the tabula officiae and shine with delight. Prize the exalted one who saw me through all the trials, Shireen. This is something to tell the grandchildren about. How a humble mortal became a trade representative of the Imperium. Let no bother thee, Dama, any longer, Shireen. Why don't we discuss our next step on the ship?
I tread a path unexplored.
Oh, that was one question than the other.
Shireen, light of my eyes, giver of boons and savior of the needy. From now on, two sons will grace the firmament of the Font Valancius Protectorate. One bright and powerful, like the rogue trader himself, and the other slightly more humble, like his unassuming partner, the diligent owner of the Mercatum Tabula Officiale, and all around delight, Jai Hidari. As I promised before, my crew will be your eyes and ears across the entire expanse, Shireen. Just give them time. And of course, the assistant to official trade representative Jai Hidari is already rushing to Dargonis to deliver goods of rare and exquisite quality to you and your people, O master of many worlds. And once again, thank you, Shireen, from the bottom of my humble heart.
Lose this piece of paper and I will not help you to get another. Throne be my witness.
Nothing will make me part with this treasure, Shireen. May the Exalted One be my witness. Him and all the stars in the expanse that shine like a handful of pearls scattered across the dark velvet of the galaxy. I only have one last question to ask.
How can I resist?
Oh, I most definitely am not opposed, Shireen. The sweetness of your lips, Shireen, clouds the mind better than Calixian wine on a balmy day. But you did not think I would just let you go, did you? A humble gift in return for all the trouble. May the Exalted One keep watching over the path that you tread. As you can see, I know how to be grateful and generous. And I'm sure you do too. I promise that I will continue to accept your every gift in the future with reverence and awe. Oh, I have no doubt.
Empyrean guides my gaze.
A finely dressed man greets you with an incredibly radiant smile. His meticulously polished jaw augmentation reflects the palace interior as sharply as a mirror. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Lusarius Carmelin, a collector of curiosities. Perhaps your lordship will find something useful among my offerings. What kind of curiosities do you sell? Lusarius points on his eagle, still smiling. Equipment for noble cyber assistants, of course. The demand is modest, as few of the Imperium can afford such a luxury, but I am glad to have found my calling. Judging by his expensive attire and ostentatious augmentics, Lusarius' wealth is unlikely to stem directly from the curiosity business. He came here following his heart, it seems, and not his greed. I am a rock trader and I seek the rarest of curiosities. Do you have anything of that sort? My collection will offer you the biggest and broadest choice in all expanse. However, even a devoted enthusiast like myself has his limits. There is a certain captain who owes a unique protocol, a family heirloom, which he has refused to sell to me. His ship is called the Renegade's Fall. Perhaps you can chart the path to his hoarded treasure. I will send you to the coordinates of the place where we last met. Let's have a look what you've got. Rogue Trader, the Marshal is ready to meet with you. Do you wish to commence the audience? I am ready to discuss our business. Bloody hell. Two markedly distinct figures approach your throne. Marching in front is a man clad in Adeptus Arbitus armor. He carries his helmet in the crook of his arm, but his stand facade serves him as well as any visor could. He bows to you sharply. Martial strut of the Adeptus Arbitus. A dry shadow follows after the Marshal, an old woman familiar to you and likely to generation of clerks at the Administration Palace. The ampleness of her robes gives the illusion that the Master of Seal is hovering rather than walking. The woman bows. Rogue Trader Nerod von Valentius, I, Prefect Inscribia Vultu, greet you on behalf of the Adeptus Administratum. I will now begin the due procedure of official address to the ruler of Dragonus as formalized by Amendment 4N10 to Law SK 941. May your name be rest in glory for centuries to come. May your fortunes ever proliferate. May the God Emperor bestow upon you a duty worth of his chosen. Her monstrous droning is making you wary. It seems she intends to go on for a good little longer. Clear your throat. The Perfect stops as the unceremonious sound reverberating through the room. Behind her thick ocular lenses, her eyes flash with displeasure. Catching herself, she quickly says, in accordance with the Rogue Trader prerogative to do so, the welcoming ceremony will be shortened to a brief formality. Perfect, Master of Seals. Is that not too many titles for one official? It is proportionate to my duties, your lordship. While I am involved with Administratum Archiving Cogitators, I proudly bear the title of Master of Seals. In all other circumstances, I am mere prefect. This distinction allows me to organize my work in due fashion, and as you surely understand, clarity and order are critical components to the sacred act of maintaining and managing records. Inscribia, who would give child a name like that? For 34 generations, my family has served in the Adeptus Administratum. I was given the name befitting one who comes from a long line of scribes. The Perfect looked at you without blinking. She is either ignoring your disrespectful tone or has genuinely failed to notice. Well, I do not recall seeing you at my court. What is the purpose of your visit? The Marshal leans forward. His voice is low, and when he speaks it feels as though the marble tiles of the palace has begun to vibrate. The Adeptus Arbitraries delegation has arrived to greet Lady Theodora's successor and to see the extension of our decades-long agreement. If I may continue for you, the Perfect steps forward, dragging her feet slightly. As per the decree of Theodora von Valencia of Ord 0373N, the representative of the Adeptus Administratum and the Adeptus Arbitres are sanctioned to use the Palace of Justice, oversee tithe collection in the Protectorate, and review any and all cases in the tithe avoidance. Tithe exceedance. Or other irregularities. These rights have been formalized in numerous pacts and statutes under the main decree. Considering your new position, you may have yet to acquaint yourself with all the documents. You are the successor of Lady Theodora, whose alliance with our two sacred organizations forever glorified her as a rogue trader closely tied to the executions of Holy Terra will. And we, as representatives of the Adeptus Administratum to the Adeptus Arbitis, must verify that you are able to maintain this alliance that has brought such repute to our dynasty. The Prefect scrutinizes you as is trying to estimate your proportions and weight. That is why we have arrived in person, as the present circumstances have provided us with a chance to see if your intention concord with those of the late von Valentius. And what circumstances are those? The Perfect lips contort into a twist. Our work has been disturbed by unforeseen setbacks regarding communication and transportation. As our requisitions assets were not adequately prepared, we have lost some of our personnel and resources as a result. The arbitrators are too short-handed to perform all the duties expected of them. Since they first arrived in the expanse, the numbers limited from the outset have only continued to dwindle. After analyzing the situation in accordance with the Amendment FS 89324 to Decree ORD 0373N, we have decided to notify you of the third violation committed by one of the worlds in the region. This regrettable lapse must be rectified as quickly as possible. The old woman shivers and rubs her augment's hands together with an unnerving creak. Are you implying that I have obligation to help you? Not at all. You are the Emperor's anointed, and you acted summarily on your own violation. The Marshal mix and forces in a flinch. The Perfect, on the other hand, speaks softly, and yet you can hear every word as if she was standing directly beside you. Your predecessor, Lady Theodora, made a light on the throne illuminate her path in death, always sought to address the needs of both the Adeptus Administratum and Adeptus Arbitraries. Because she realized how blessed the Imperium our work is for the good of the Imperium, to say nothing of the fact that she honored the laws of her own dynasty. And which word was it that had the misfortune of drawing your attention? Thacera, a feudal word far from the main roots that was bereft of the Imperium light, then rediscovered less than 2 centuries ago. It supplies agricultural resources and manpower. If one of my governors has missed a thigh payment, I will simply have them hanged and the debt collected. This is not von Valencia's world. The system is located just outside the borders of your protectorate. The Imperium is built upon the strict and unfalling obedience by the Lex Imperialis, and the planet's tithe, even one that is relatively small, must be provided in full. I will carry forward my responsibility taken by Lady Theodora. I offer you my help. An arbitrator will be assigned to you for increased security. Protocol Antha, front and center. The martial voice thunders over the arbitrary ranks of Solomon Antha, marches over to your throne, his saber massive at his heel. Fine, I will try not to lose you, Doc Handler. The Emperor protects. The Marshal makes a sign of the Aquila emotion so sharp that you can practically hear its cut in the air. The Prefect adjusts her ocular lenses with a wary side. And once again, no specific given, of course. And my report, nobody ever stops to think. She quickly catches herself and offers you a bow. not what I wanted. An incredible find has been made on Foulstone, Lord Captain. A lost volume of signed cafe diary has been discovered during the restoration of his crypt. By following the saint words, the Order of the Hammer was able to find a cryptotach containing the tech relic of St. Cogitarius, the Crucible. Cafe writing on it are vague. It is called the Sculptor of the Transformer, granting life and grace. The explorators have seen a delegation to lay claim to the treasure, which has sparkled a heated dispute that has been going on for many days. What is the main point of the dispute? The tech priest claimed that the privileges of the Adeptus Mechanicus oblige to the Order of the Hammer to hand any sacred archotech over to them. They argue that the Crucible should be considered not a personal possession of the saints, but rather an object temporarily entrusted into his care. The Order of the Hammer rejects this thesis, insisting that the right to care for such sacred object belongs to ecclesiae cults. And since Cognitius was canonized, then the Crucible should be regarded as a blessed relic, not archotech. These are deliberations. Quite. The discussion had been happening now for more than 8 cycles without interruptions. Both sides have provided more than 100 experts on scholarly wisdom and law and have put forward around 4,000 theses, arguments and testimonies. A special administrative commission, comprised of 200 armed clerks, has arrived to pass a verdict and enforce the law. This may well be the largest religious dispute in the Expanse history. Prelate Nigmus does not seem to be too keen on fighting. It seems that he is subtly preparing the Order for his loss of the dispute, and he is trying to avoid an uproar in the priesthood. What say my companions? It is likely that the research contained in the ancient treatises and archival repositories of the Adeptus Mechanicus will provide factual information on similar precedent. I can spare some of my computing powers to find such a case and provide my brothers and sisters with the information that is necessary to win this dispute. I believe that the chronicles of Amalian Conclave describe mystical miracles witnessed by zealots with praying at the ancient banner of the Saint Capius. Should the Crucible perform a similar miracle, then no doubt will remain that it is indeed a holy relic and not the property of the Adeptus Mechanicus. Shirim, I don't know the best motivation to make your enemies ripe for the compromise, the danger of losing any sort of benefit. It is within your powers to take the Crucible for yourself using the privilege of your warrant if you so desire. Would you not imply such a possibility to the parties involved? Cassia has brought up an interesting idea. Let a convicting miracle happen that would prove this Crucible is it's not something I would do. This I will do. Jay is right. Make it clear all to those involved that if they will not come to consensus, no, yeah. Cassia brought you up interesting idea. Let the conviction miracle happen. That would provide this cubicle is a true relic. Now I feel uneasy at the thought that I have become a mastermind of the deceit. After some time, the cubicle revealed a miraculous vision, a sacred images of martyrs appearing before the awestruck witnesses and blessed the ancient artifact, and even through some claim to have caught a glimpse of some suspicious individual operating lens machines. Most of this present acknowledge the fact of this miracle and the statues of the cubicle as a relic. The explorators have made peace with their loss and asked permission to conduct several of their own rituals with the cubicle. When the tech liturgies has been completed, the tech priest departed Foulstone. Reaching into the cubicle has identified it as a device that surface terraforming. Fueled by the geometrical energy of the planet, it could turn a wasteland into a blooming garden. However, a way to launch it is to be found. So there is nothing I can do in Foulstone. What's this? Unidentified ruins. Oh yeah, they've done this. Permission to report. Your protocol has arrested a Voidsman and is demanding his execution. A repeat offender, he says. Please do something, Lord Captain. Bring the document to me immediately. I'll personally interrogate him. Consider it done, Lord Captain. Look, Captain, I beg you to look into this outrage. This cyber horror nearly chewed up my assistants, and one of them been left without 2 of his fingers. Instead of calming this beast, the arbitrator attacked my crewman. Solomon waits for the end of the Master Helmsman's words and coolly turns to you. His crewman is a wanted man, rogue trader. He is accused of subverting sacred tide shipments, smuggling, kidnapping, and Imperium subjects, and bribing officers. We are not on your flagship. I would have executed the heretic on the spot, but here you are the authority and you are the court. Why are you so certain of this man you are seeking? Because I was personally involved in tracking down and purging the shadows of the Abyss Crime Syndicate, to which the perpetrator belongs. The case was in Calix, on the world of Helvika Prime, but the arbitrator's time and distance do not mitigate guilt. The man before you is former captain of a smuggling ship owned by the Syndicate. Check the heretic's left arm. Every Syndicate member has a distinctive implant by which they recognize each other. It was that implant signature that Gleiko picked up on during his patrol. How did he find his way into my ship? He was among the 7 sent to you by Governor Medina. Raver, did you know about this? If I went sticking my beak into the past of every one of the hundreds of people in the crew, I wouldn't have time to steal your ship. All I know is that when everything went to Grokshid on Rykard Minories, this one oversaw the work of the docks, and that the fools didn't trample each other to the death in the panic. And later he ran into the friend of the port of the Footfall, and they found us something parts within a day. He's even got arms growing out of the right places. He might make it a junior helmsman if he keeps it up. Do you have anything to say? The long-haired Voidsman flinched when you addresses him. Your Lordship, the governor of Havlika Prime was a scumbag who abhorred the light of the God Emperor. The things he did to the people under him. We only survived by stealing from him, or else we'd have ended up in a corpse pit, like 1 in 4 did after the distribution station accident. But once I'd got out of here, that was it. I was out of the business for good, and when I found myself in your service, I realized that it was a gift of fate, and I've been a fool if I didn't repay such good fortune with my wholehearted toil. I have made my decision. I await your orders, Rock Trader. The Master Helmet shoots a look at naked dislike at Solomon Rowe. I do not trust this man to remain in Master Helmsman's crew, but I cannot allow such a talent to go to waste. Hand him over to the factotum. He will find use for him. The fugitive criminal must be punished. Execute him. The Voidsman's face pales and he falls to his knees. A deep crease runs down the Master Helmsman's forehead. You throwing away a crewman, Lord Captain? For what? To indulge that lump? Well, have it your way. Rogue Traitor, will you carry out the sentence yourself, or do you want me to deliver the justice? Do it myself. The criminal managed to sigh a few words of prayer and as you draw your weapon. Revo looks grimly at the body. Well, look, Captain, I'll try to find a replacement for the poor sword. I hope your lawman doesn't go after the next one.
Rogue trader. You know where to find.
Look, Captain, we have received voxcast from the Thasera. The signal quality is rather poor, but the meaning is clear. The world is expecting your lordship arrival. Great festivities have been arranged, and the delegation led by the planetary governor is ready to give you a welcome worthy of our honored guest. Amid the lifeless rock and lava lakes, the ship or augurs have detected something resembling buildings. There is something off with the outlines, but the presence in and on itself suggests there may be something valuable to uncover among the ruins. Send scouts. The scouts are unable to discern the symbol of the Imperium on the buildings. The form infused together by high temperatures, the ore mining structures tell a sad story. Centuries ago, the planet and his riches perished beneath the radiance of the system's expanding sun. Oh, lovely. A richly dressed man riding a sinewy horse breaks off from the procession. When he approaches, you immediately notice a strange detail. The man's face is pinned to his head with precious festoning that stretches his skin across his skull. Celestial guests, there is no higher honor for us to extend our hospitality to such noble eminences. His Celestial Highness, the Rogue Trader, and the illustrious Justica of the Imperium. All the Thasera clamorous, trembles and cheers. Rulodo, the fair-faced Governor of Thasera, is at your service. We proceed inside now. I find this quarrel rather tiring. Now, Your Celestial Highness, we truly tried to do our best to put together a celebration worthy of our honoured visitor. But the news of your coming reached us too late. All I have left is a single talentless astropath. We have to rush the preparation. Nevertheless, we have managed to put everything Thessera is proud of on display here for you. I must ask. Creepy. A smaller figure steps out of the crowd, dressed in the motley attire of a court fool and wearing the sneering mask. My name is Bluff. I am Lord Rudollo Goodsmood. I tickle his governorship with well-spouted jest and itty-bitty gossip. And now I immediately doff my cap to your celestial lordship and ladies and hand them this here key to Thessera as a token of our boundless loyalty. The fool bows and offers you his gift. Strike the fool. Mind your place, peasant. You miss your mark as the fool jumps away with surprising agility, dancing and jeering as he goes. Oh, the embarrassment! The governor leans down from his horse and grabs the fool's hand. Having wrenched the key from Bluff's grasp, Ruler raises his hand to strike, and the fool quickly backs off. Finally, the governor offers the gift to you with a reverential bow. Look at the governor. The governor's heavy gold-stitched jacket adds a certain presence to the figure, but he cannot hide how poor of a rider he is. The way his boots dig into the horse's sides, his hands fiddling with the reins, his trembling fingers, all speak of nervousness and lack of control. What happened to your face, Ruoldo? Ruoldo touches his stretched-out countenance. Ah, this is a fine tradition that I myself brought to this world. You see, there is a way to tame the merciless passage of time. All you need is to find a young and healthy face, appropriate it, and attach it over your own fading skin. The local nobility eagerly took on this art of extending one's life in youth. And I, once a celestial lord myself, now promote this custom by personal example, so I may showcase its wonderful properties. A fine tradition indeed. I hope the subjects are conscious when you peel their skin off. I would love to attend such a procedure myself sometime and enjoy the show. Rudollo's eyes nearly pop from the sockets at your words. He gulped and nods awkwardly. Not to Solomon Row. Enough. According to data protocols Calix Sigma UX114, this MU class planet type feudal estime rating E874 with an assigned tide grade of Solutio Extremis had not provided its due tides amount in full. You have violated the lex and are hereby under investigation. You are to present all related custom reports and shipping material manifests immediately. The proctor's voice carries no emotion, and Glacier silently bares his teeth, compelling the image of the incapable harm of justice that has arrived on Thessera. I am most flattered by your attention, esteemed Judicator, and by this opportunity to serve the Imperium with ever greater dedication than before. Speaking of dedication, we are already conducting a thorough inspection to see which scribe it was that bungled the tide calculation. Fear not, the scandal shall soon be. Excuses are the hallmark of the guilty. Do not make your situation worse, Governor. Rudollo claps his hands together and says meekly, "Of course, Master Judicator. I'll provide you with all documents as soon as your internal review is complete. I assume it won't take long and the report itself will be extensive." I'm glad that's Rudollo. Daunted by your silence, the governor squirms nervously in his saddle. Well, in that case, please proceed to the castle. All of Thacera has been awaiting your arrival, busily preparing the finest dishes and entertainment in your honor, so I think it may be challenging for you to avoid attention. Let us have a court lady accompany you. A thin woman emerges into the torchlight, looking at you with a mixture of fear and awe. The diminutive figure is practically drowning in her velvet and silk dress, and a resplendent necklace of blue stone adorns her neck. Maeve, my celestial lord, at your service. Someone leads closer and says in a lowered voice, based on my experience, I would say we have been assigned a spy under a pretense of generosity. But this is a good thing. We'll use this young woman as our source of information about the world. For now, I would be wise to play along and question her thoroughly once we are away from prying eyes. What exquisite necklace! I think I would look better around the neck of the Celestial Lord. Maeve gasps with trembling hands. She removes her necklace and offers it to you with courtesy. Lord Rudella generously gave it to me. This stone is a Thessarium shard, the rare crystal our planet is famed for. Truly, my Celestial Lord is more deserving of such a gift. Well, well, our Celestial Lord is not one to mince words. He is up and tells the speaks on the soles of his shoes where they belong. Your face is your own, why? Such living masks are the privilege of high nobility. I may not be a commoner, but the entitled to a change of face, that is something I have yet to earn. Maeve casts a fascinated eye over the nobles whose faces, inassumed much as they are theirs, are stretched tight over metal fixtures. Many have their mouths frozen in a natural smile, and it's hard to tell whether this is a consequence of their tightness or simply an eager show of delight. Look at this one. She has barely risen above the bottom and already has shots for the privilege of the top. Greedy hands are wont to get chopped off. Very well. I would like to see what this place has to offer. I can tell by what I'm hearing that our executioner has already lit up the Phesphomorpheus, ready to give the condemned a warm welcome. Which means the Governor Official Whispers Collector, that's me, has a whole lot of important business to get to. And so I must leave you now, good sirs and ladies, lest I miss out on a hot batch of juicy tales. Terribly pleased to meet you all, Honored Judicator. Bluff grasps Solomon's hand and gives it a vigorous shake. Before you can even blink, the supermassive beside him sinks his teeth into Bluff's forearm, jerking it back and forth in a fury. The attacks last only for a moment, but when Glacio lets go, the fool's limb is already torn to shreds. With a cry of pain, Bluff leaps away and melts into the rolling crowd. Solomon ruffles Glacio's neck and turns to you. Feudal words are rarely known for the bureaucratic precision. Reconnaissance on the ground will tell us more than any reports hastily scribed down these blockheads. I suggest we attempt this trial and see how the laws of this planet are enforced. Let's go then. Let's go, we must not miss the biggest... It's not a question of preference, but of what might help the investigation. The execution will gather a crowd, and we in turn will gather information. Will prove useful considering how eager everyone was to make their exit. Samuel looks at the throng currently staring at you in wonder and trepidation. So, Celestial Lord, you come in a historic event for these people. Rest assured, the locals will be watching your every move, and a single word of carelessness gesture from you may will transition their lives from this underdeveloped world.
The world will bow.
It befits the servants of his and thanks daily Emperor, him that holdeth the key for the lot given them in life. As I thank him with my writings for the thousands of moon lives, so too do I thank him for now the fetters that are permeating my soul for his new destiny. The rules of this service are simple. Day after day I reverently carry with me the glass fetters in the darkness break. So, I think we're going to finish at this, and I don't think we're going to continue it. I'm not going to lie. It's a little bit bores me. I try multiple times to do it and finish this, but I don't think I'm going to. Pathfinder is more of my style. So